Cameras. Action.
Action.
Lights.
There we go. Look at us. And I
We're
forgot to
up. We're
shut my
going.
door.
Oh no.
It doesn't matter that
I
much.
just
I just
noticed it
happened
in the
to notice
background.
now. All right. So me and
Okay.
Omen, we are trying out some new stuff here for a few reasons. One of them being that he had like a cardiac arrest, I guess, a stroke of sorts, and then he decided I'm gonna start like adding to society and getting a job, and so he has a job now which makes money
Yes. Yes.
because capitalism, guys. And yeah,
Viva la capitalism.
and I've been wanting like to do a more just chatting, talking, focused thing with a stream anyway. So we are gonna play at some point, but at least for the next few weeks, where Rory Oman is getting used to his new job, we are gonna have this, and we're calling it a podcast, even though things might change along the way.
Yeah.
We had like a beta whatever thing that I called it. Upload both to YouTube and Twitch, our Twitch channel. But yeah, but things might change. Well, we like figure the whole thing out how we want this and what exactly do we want out of it and how we want things. Yeah. But one of the reasons why we even started, why we even like came to this idea is that Omen asked me if he could ask me about my autism just at some point because he has been taking some online classes doing this whole Corona thing, using his time wisely. Didn't earn money, but and I said, yeah, and we might as well just make a thing out of it, like this. And then
Yes.
it's actually purely coincidental that we actually both wanted like to move, at least for the foreseeable future, over to this kind of thing with our stream.
Yeah. Definitely. I was gonna ask you to give like a brief introduction about yourself, but I don't feel I really need to do that anymore.
I
I feel like
mean,
you've given a
actually, I think
good enough.
one of the things is that you always have to assume, especially when we're this new,
Yeah. Any
is
any new viewers? Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Do you want to give me like a little, just a quick rundown on who you are, just quickly? I think you can like include
I'm thinking about what that would be, right? Because I'm
like
just
where you're
a guy.
from, how
Okay,
old are you, like
yeah, my
I
personal
got
security number. Here's a list of my three biggest
your
fears.
card, please. There you go.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
just just like a few things. Yeah.
but yeah, I guess I'm Beast, the Beast. Also, my real name is Dennis. That's all I'm gonna give you for now.
That's nice. Yeah, it's fine.
And I met Roy Boy over there in CS. We started streaming together, and I'm
Yes.
32 years old, and he's like my my victory, but because he's it's an internal joke.
Oh
Whatever.
no. And you're from Denmark, right?
I'm from yes I am.
He's a Danish boy.
I'm also human, Rory.
I know. We only
Human.
identify you as a Denmark boy.
But yeah, I'm a
Okay.
and yeah, you go. We gotta do this
Okay.
much better next
So
time.
no, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I want to start off with like kind of an open question and see like what your opinion is on
So
it.
you're not gonna say who you
So
are
no. I mean, I can introduce myself too,
because
but like
I know you're kind of the
main,
host this time, but it's not gonna be consistent
like the
like
main
that.
subject, like right here.
I mean, you're introducing both of us, so you
Okay,
are.
and I am also Rory, also known as Omen, and I am 20 from the UK, and
That's
I also
clever, I
meet
like it.
Beast playing CS:GO and chilling out with him, and we're good friends now.
Mm.
And I'd like to find out some more about his perspective on his autism and autism in general.
And ADHD,
Um,
yay! Because that's
yeah, we can touch on that too,
no,
because
no.
I think
I was
that
just
is
saying that that's why
yes, of course,
our
yeah.
channel is called that because we both have ADHD. Yeah,
Yes, of course.
it's
Yeah. So if things kind of branch off in crazy directions, that's probably why.
yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just gonna let you know, that's probably why. Yeah, so the first question I wanted to do was kind of an open one. It's kind of seeing your opinion on the whole thing. Okay, so to you, what does autism mean to you? Do you understand what I mean?
That's too deep. You have to have to give me
No,
something.
not,
How do you mean?
I mean, okay, so when I say autism,
Mm.
what does that mean to you? Is it a bad kind of a negative connotation? Is it just something that you have to deal with from day to day? How would you sum that up?
Oh yeah, I mean that's my life at all times.
Yep.
Um, but what is to me? Are you then asking this specifically? how it affects
So
me.
is it meant? Yes, yes, I am.
That's because that's a bit too broad, I think. Because then,
Too broad. Okay.
yeah, you have to be more
Okay.
specific. Uh,
These are just kind of questions to get us into the whole
okay, yeah,
gist of
because
it.
the thing is, that's what that one is so broad. I can talk for like hours.
So just give us like a couple of I want to say a couple of like kind of examples of how in your every like day-to-day life you have to like do stuff differently, or maybe you think slightly differently.
Oh yeah, but I
Like
thought
when
that
you
was
get a
I
blank
thought
home,
that would like be questions like leading into things.
I've got loads of those. I mean, I've got so many
Okay,
questions
which
to
is why I
stuff in.
can't answer them now like that. So when you
Okay.
ask me with autism, well, it affects me
How,
like at all times, every time. It's like autism is not like a mental disorder that can be cured,
yeah,
and it's not a mental
yeah,
disorder whatsoever. It's just
yeah,
a certain amount of people in the world, their brains just work different compared to other people, and the
yeah.
whole normal person thing that people have been
Of course,
thinking
yeah.
was that things was like for like till now, till recently, that's just changed. And it's not like
Hmm.
really we're not the norm. We're part of the norm, but it's just a nuanced norm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, what even is normal, really? Normal is kind of a stupid thing to say
yeah,
because everyone is different, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah. That's kind of what I meant about what does autism mean to you? That's the same sort of thing. I think
okay.
you answered that question. So it's like because it doesn't mean it shouldn't put you into one category, should it? It's a very broad term that lots of people do have to deal with.
Yeah,
I think it's like something like what is in the UK. Oh yeah, 1 in 100 people or something. Autism affects 1 in 100 people, but that's over like a greater
and
spectrum. It's not as
that exactly that number that's only gonna go
yeah,
up because
of course,
every
yeah,
day they're finding new things of what autism is. I mean, for the longest time, they thought like autism was this thing, and we knew that. And
hmm
in recent years, it's like okay, now it's all like all these different things just in a box, and it's just
yep,
shaking it, and then we just okay, we know that it can this thing connects to that thing. We don't know why, and we don't know why it doesn't connect
course,
to the other thing, even though it's the same thing.
yeah,
So it's at least we are in the day of where they're trying to figure things out and notice stuff, but we are far from where they can like say, okay, this is where it comes from, and this is exactly what it is, and this is how we see the difference between this. I was trying to say another
yeah,
word, I couldn't.
differentiate, yep, yep,
Exactly. Um,
yep,
I mean, one of the last thing that I just found out is that autism and ADHD actually might be the same thing, but it's
yes. That was
just
another question I got down the line. I was going to say
yeah,
what was your opinion on that, but we'll get into that as well as we go.
yeah.
Um, so for you, when did you like first realize? I wouldn't say discover or get diagnosed yet, but when did you first realize that you think you had autism, or where on the spectrum anyway?
No, I'm gonna go even further back
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah.
because I didn't realize that
You didn't.
I had
Okay.
autism,
Hmm.
but I realized
Yep.
something was wrong. Well,
Right.
as in not that there's something wrong with me. Well, at least I felt like that, but there was just something
Hmm.
different.
Yeah.
And just I, I think the best comparison that people can relate to is like paranoia, because I just
Right.
knew
Okay.
something was wrong, something was different about me and all the others around me. I couldn't put my finger on it. Right, it was just something off,
Yeah.
and I was getting in trouble in school, and I was, uh, yeah, I guess that's good. We can talk about that later. But basically, I just felt
Hmm.
like something was off, and I tried to explain like to teachers, to my parents, to whatever they took me to in the with the psychiatry people.
Yep.
To figure out what it was
Therapists and
because
stuff.
back then
Yeah.
no one knew anything about that other than like the very extreme versions like Rain Man the movie.
Right. Of course. Yep.
Um, so like for years and years I felt like something was off, and also when because they didn't have the tools back then because they simply didn't know them how to
Yeah.
like notice someone like me because there are
Right.
tells. Um, then yeah, then they just thought it was all like hormones. Um,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. It must have been
and
quite stressful at the time, really, for people not really understanding the situation.
yeah, but
People not
to
having a
them, I
grasp.
was just a trouble kid.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, I was actually even then, a nice kid, but it only like showed
Mhm.
up when there wasn't too many distractions around me. When my parents used to tell me that they went to that parent teacher night, but
Right.
all the parents would be like in the same room, and then like the teachers be like, ah, then is this, and then is that. The few parents who actually like I visited,
Yeah, she knew you.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I visited my roommates, like my schoolmates, and they was
Yeah.
like, no, Dennis is like he's a nice kid.
He's a lovely boy. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was only when I was not too many distractions. It was just me and some other person, and that even I followed me
Yeah.
into like my late teens, because I remember like a friend told me that I was so much calmer when I was like just him and me compared to when there was other people there, and all those puzzle pieces just fell together for me later.
Yes. Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was like 18, 19, and at that point I had like I did drugs, mostly weed,
Yep.
and I really wanted to stop, but I just couldn't, because even at that point, something like weed, it didn't even feel good. It didn't have like used to like this all super chill, mellow effect. It was actually making my heart beat and make me feel
super,
very
super
uneasy
paranoid.
inside. But it was still
Yeah.
better than
Right.
the alternative, because that was just a different kind of uneasy.
You were
But
so confused.
at least then I was like numbed also on top of it.
Yep. Okay.
So it wasn't until I started searching for figure out things out for myself,
Yes.
um,
Yep.
and that was like when I was 18, 19, and that was like how much is that, like a 4 year road to
Right.
like
Okay. Yep.
uh, 4 year road to like figure out what was on,
And was that
what was going
through
on.
talking to a therapist, or
Oh, that was
who was that talking to?
a ton of things.
Yeah.
But a therapist, psychologists, doctors,
Right.
tests. One of the things that made it hard at the beginning was that they insisted on I had to stop smoking weed, because then it's
Right.
very
Yeah.
hard to determine what
Of course.
what I was born with and what like the weed had done on the way. And even
Yeah.
to this day, uh, even though those other things don't affect me as much, but I had like at least for some years I had some sorts of schizophrenia where yeah I would just whatever disappear, and that was mostly weed
Yeah.
related. At the more years I came away from that, the lesser that became an issue. Uh,
Right. Okay. Yeah. And
um,
that helps, I guess, differentiate the two different things, like
yeah,
from
they
being the you with the weed and the actual
yeah, they
like
absolutely needed that in
habit.
order to just give me a diagnosis to begin with, to even like start.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's the answer to that first question. Yeah.
Right. That was good. That answered two questions in one. That was lovely. So um, so any experiences during that kind of process with your therapist and stuff that you thought were good or bad, like some bad points that you felt like you didn't really want to have happening, or
I
good points
mean,
where you felt a lot of growth from, maybe? Or was that
um,
a lot of the time you were having that kind of back and forth?
I mean, I can tell you about the process, how that felt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the process, yeah.
yeah. Um, I can only usually when you go into that kind of a process,
Hmm.
things feels like they take forever, and they do,
Of
and it's so
course, yeah,
frustrating. Especially, I even had to like deal with this again last year when I'd wanted to try some medicine with my ADHD, and that's when you like imagine if you're an alcoholic and you like
yes,
suddenly
yeah,
it's like I want to stop now, and I want help
yeah,
now, and you are in moments maybe for a few days or maybe less than that. That's if I get help now, something can actually happen. But then you
yeah,
go to get, but there's like a long line on the list, and like back last year, I had to like wait like 6 months before I could even like talk to a
crazy,
uh, a psychiatrist to figure out if I could get medicine.
yeah,
So yeah, and that's a short version of how that process is. It takes forever, man. It's
yeah,
yeah, and on
pretty
on
daunting.
on top of that, we are very fortunate in Denmark with how how it works that we pay a lot of taxes and then we have our social security and everything.
Yeah,
But as soon as like the state pays or something like that, then when there's like cuts and everything, that's some of the places they have to cut. Whereas if you have an insurance or whatever, and it works like that, and there's competition between all that,
right.
then things might go different. Even though
Hmm.
I must assume that it's a long process there as well.
Yeah, it
But
has
yeah,
to be.
yeah, but yeah, it's so frustrating. Especially there was I'm gonna go talk about that later, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah. Were there any
um,
methods that yourself that you like to use to just calm down? I know you talked about you smoked a lot of weed, but
that didn't
were there
calm me
things that
down
you
at
felt
all.
helpful? No, no.
No,
You said you
no,
thought it would.
no, that was nothing. I mean, I just
Nothing?
stayed
Yeah,
inside all day, smoked weed, and played World of Warcraft. That was my life.
yeah,
And having to go outside to either like buy more weed or make food or whatever, that was just a nuisance
yeah.
because all I wanted to do
I,
is do that, which is apparently a
I,
typical thing with autism, that's just staying inside and being antisocial.
yeah,
Even though I'm a bit rare case when it comes to that, but I have like a desire to be social.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
We're gonna jump around your timeline a bit anyway,
yeah, sure, sure.
but I was gonna say now, have you got like some sort of daily routine that you get up and you kind of have like a pattern that you do that helps you at all or not?
I have a daily routine that it could be better, but
Yeah,
basically, for instance, if I go up and I just instantly turn on my TV and I watch
yeah,
more than like 20 minutes or half an hour, then my brain already starts getting dizzy and
right, okay,
aren't able to concentrate as well because
yeah,
it's a mixture of not using your brain and all the
of
blue
course,
lights and just staring at that information that just like
yeah,
drains your head and
a lot of information.
basically makes your autism worse. And
Yes,
the same with certain foods, like all the red meats. I'm supposed to avoid as much as possible.
yeah.
When it comes to the food,
I
not
was going to dive into this because people might find this really interesting that even certain foods you can't really touch. I
yeah.
imagine a lot of people don't know that fact.
Oh
So,
yes, I mean, fun fact.
yeah,
Last time I streamed,
yeah,
I had a tiny break, and I just went into like a CS thing, another CS streamer, and he happened to be like autistic, and
really.
I mentioned that the food thing, and he just refused to believe it.
Of
He
course, you did tell
refused,
me. Yeah,
and that's a common thing, because all the people I've told about this, is that they always refuse to believe me because it's such an inconvenience when you used to
hmm,
eat meat and
yeah,
crisps and whatever. It's only you can't just be told that in my experience so far. I mean, I'm sure
hmm,
there's people that would trust that or
we're
whatever,
accepting. Yeah,
but so far the ones I met, they had to find out for themselves, and I had to do that as well.
yeah,
I had a very close friend who told me and said that this can make things better for you. And she could like notice the difference for when I was eating right and when I wasn't. I was like,
yeah.
no, that's blah blah blah. It's not true, blah blah
Nah,
blah.
it's the tricks. Yeah,
And it wasn't until like I was there for like a month and a half or 2 months, and then went back to like eating my own way. Then I could like
you saw the
I
difference.
could feel the difference, and
Yeah.
it's huge. I used to like back in the day, I could like easily have a day where I like only ate like 4 bags of crisps, and that's what was
Oh
food.
my God.
Um, yeah, and then because I couldn't tell the difference back then because I was always just feeling like shit because one of the reasons was I was doing poorly, but also ate wrong every day. So, but
Yep.
these days I can feel like okay, if I've been eating right for a while and I like treat myself or become weak and just get something I shouldn't have in too large
Right.
a portion, then I'd like start feeling off and I can't really like enjoy a movie or I can't like sit and do this. I mean, just
Yep.
doing this today
Yeah.
was like I had to go on a bike ride and do my whole routine in order to
Relax.
just sit here.
So
Um,
with exercise, does that make you feel better in any way, or is it the
oh
fresh
yeah,
air, or
oh yeah.
yeah?
Um,
Is that all a part of the routine kind of thing?
well, the routine is that just to have like an active lifestyle. Even
Yeah.
though I'm not too good at that, but um, but yeah, but you need a routine because if you and you don't not just need it, you need like to have it like written down at the very least till you learn it, because
Yeah.
else it's just a thing in your head and you never go anywhere.
You're gonna stick to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some much more severe autists than me that have to have
Yeah.
like what is it called, those yellow notes, post-its or whatever.
Oh yeah, post-its, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to have that at like at the oven and the washing machine
Mm,
and everything, just because it needs to like tell them what they need to do. I'm much more fortunate when it comes to my autism, as it's relatively mild.
yeah.
But there was a point that even I had like to have at least something like that, so I wouldn't like keep forgetting how to do like basic things.
Of course.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Um.
I feel
Sorry,
like we're
carry
still
on.
at the
Yeah.
routine a bit. But yeah, exercising is super important, not
Yep.
only because I also have like a depression, which is like something that often go hand in hand with
Yeah.
autism, and it's also a side effect from my ADHD medicine. So that made it even worse, even though I had depression already. Even though it,
Mm,
it used to be mostly in the winter, but I feel like the
right.
ADHD medicine made it like uh,
A lot worse.
yeah, well, at least worse to some extent. At least
Hmm.
worse than it was before, however much that is. So yeah, exercising, eating right, and we're not only talking red meats. We are talking everything artificial. So all when you like look at the back of a package of food or groceries, it will say what's inside it, and all the numbers that starts with like a large E, far most of those is like artificial things. That's like something like E300, I think, is lemon acid, and that's fine. But
Yep.
uh, like 99% of those numbers, they're not good for you. Not good for
No.
anyone, but it's even worse for someone like me. Um, and something like turkey or shrimp should technically be
Right. Okay.
okay, but because of all
Yep.
the stuff we pump out in the oceans, uh,
Ah,
and
it's
and they,
taken in by them.
and they eat that, yeah, that's also bad for me.
Oh
And
wow.
I should eat when it comes to like vegetables. I should eat as local as possible and
Yeah.
ecological, uh,
Yeah.
if
Organic
if
and
if possible.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean the best thing for me was actually just become vegan, even though
Yeah.
I'm
Of
not.
course.
But I
The
eat
really great
much
knife.
I eat much less meat that I used to. But yeah, that would just be the optimal thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Another thing. The reason I asked where you're from at the very start as well, even though I know where you're from, just for the audience's sake, is in Denmark. Is there any stigma around the word autism, or is it more well educated on this? I don't know what it's like over in Denmark for that thing. Is it educated about autism, or
Um,
are people quite ignorant?
yes, but that
People are quite
happens.
ignorant.
I'm sure the only ones that's like is not like that is the ones who are already had it like close to themselves in their life,
Right. Okay.
had a sibling
Yes.
or a
Yeah.
cousin or something close to them where they like learned that.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
think that I think that became a thing like a few years ago. It's like the same way that someone would call someone a retard.
Right.
These
Yep.
days, they actually start. Some people are starting to say autist, you fucking autist, and they just
Yeah.
mean it in like the retard way. My problem with that is though, is that if you're sitting in front of, or you're in front of someone who happens to be, it's the wrong word, retarded, well, it's challenged in some sort of way in that area,
Yep.
then you can tell physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you don't say that in front of that person out of courtesy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people don't know when someone had autism unless it's like extremely extreme, and then they probably don't have the tools like to differentiate that is that specific to them. For them, it's probably just a retard.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, that's another common misconception that all people who are autistic are like non-speakers or non-verbal and have to communicate in other means. I think that's another kind of thing that is around autism people don't really think about. It's not just on the surface level of being not able to speak very well or communicate in any way with their parents or anything.
uh,
That's another part of it, really.
so yeah, that's a thing that started like in real life and online gaming, that people will say
Yeah,
that I will call them out every time because it's not
yeah,
okay. it's absolutely not okay. And
No.
I first of all, I feel like I need to educate them, even though it's probably not
Yeah.
gonna work. But I can't. It hurts me so much. I need to open my mouth. It's not okay.
Yeah.
And they, yeah,
I feel like that's the same for a lot of kind of insults though nowadays. Really, if the people were in front of these people, they'd never say it to their face anyway.
exactly. But in this case, they
Yeah.
don't realize they are. They have no idea. So that's why
Yeah.
would even use a word, but you have absolutely no idea if the person in front of you are that. But because I guess to them, it's only like those extreme cases that's autistic. I mean, I
Sorry.
even there was even someone I was on the same game as me last time I streamed, and
Mm.
I happened to mention that I was autistic, and he was like, "You're autistic?" Like, yeah. He's like, "But you're so nice." I'm like, I'm not sure what he
What
meant.
does think it means?
I never found out what he meant, but
Yeah.
I haven't really met any bad artists in that
Just because you're autistic, he thinks you can't be nice. What the heck?
guess.
It's
I mean,
weird.
I mean, the only thing I could possibly think of is that the whole like autistic people, if they can have a hard time with social cues and what's okay and not
Yeah.
okay to say, but I doubt that even what he meant.
Yeah. Even. Sorry. Wait. I got something in my throat.
Yeah.
Hey Dabzilla, how you doing? Thank you for coming into chat as well. Just noticed you there. Um.
Hello.
What was I saying? Well, yeah. So along the same sort of line, about people treating you differently. Do people treat you differently in day-to-day life?
Oh,
Not in a horrible way,
did we get a
always, but
follow? Because it didn't get up, but I also yeah, sorry. We are only started with this whole podcast thing, so there's something that's put off. Even though the new follow should have been there, maybe caught up in a while, but I've seen it.
oh,
And
thank you, Dabzilla,
yeah,
for
thank you for the. And again, thank you also for doing that because I was about to say that if anyone has anything to cut in with, please do. You're more than welcome to join the conversation if we have an answer for it or yeah, we feel like
Oh, that's lovely, Dabzilla. Your
um,
brother's autistic, and he's the nicest in the world. He does dishes. He makes sure everybody's okay.
yeah,
See, yeah. I
exactly.
think there's just this whole stigma around the whole word. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he made that connection. You're so nice. I'm like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that people just don't look deep enough
I mean
sometimes.
that's a whole podcast right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out
People
what
don't
the
look deep
fuck
enough.
where he came from with that.
Yeah, so if you ever want to interject, Stabzilla, just put something in chat and we can talk about that too. You don't have to stick to the script. What else have I got in here that I can talk about? Um, Here's another one. If you could choose to live, this is a really deep question, maybe. If
Sure.
you could choose to live a non-autistic life, would you? If yes, why? Or if no, why? I want to know.
Oh.
It's really,
Hmm.
it's just a hard, I know it's a hard question, but it's supposed to
Yeah.
be.
I mean, I guess there's. Okay, let's. I'm gonna do this a different way.
Okay.
I don't think I would be the person today that I am if it wasn't for that. With how
Yep.
I now see things, and like, even though it's been a hard life, and
Yep.
it still put me with some people that I wouldn't want to take those away from my timeline.
Of course. Yeah.
So I guess the quick answer is no.
No.
But
Yeah.
there are certainly things that would be easier. Um,
Yeah. I'm sure
but
there are times where you wish you didn't as well.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in some ways I'm less autistic than other people because I'm so aware what's going on in my head and my body and what it means and where it comes from. And then there's the other
Yeah.
people and they're so they, they don't know it all, so they're uneducated and ignorant
Yeah.
about themselves. And I feel like the whole journey I've been on, that's well, so far in my journey, that
Yeah.
there are things about me and things about the person I turned out to be that I wouldn't want to like lose because of that. If I went back in time, I'd never had any autism.
Of course. Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah,
made you who you are, really, hasn't it? It's shaped you to who you are now.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
because I'm so much aware of how things, feelings inside me, where they come from in my body, it also makes it easy for me to like see with the other people that
Yeah.
that
Of
is not
course.
like autistic. Yeah. To and then the like in nature, I want to help other people. like
Yeah.
Tapsilla, what like you said before, that your brother feels also make sure that everyone's okay, and I can like see that in myself. I like to help people, um, but I'm not sure if I would be as sympathetic to other people and their needs and see where they come from without them even giving me that much information. If it haven't been because I've been through such a hard time myself and had to learn it the hard way.
I feel like that's almost a common thing with people who've been through a hard time. They understand people's situation better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you saying here? Sorry, Dabzilla. He used to be one of those kids at camp that would spin around in circles. Now he's like amazing, except that he talks himself. I mean, that's still amazing.
No, I'm
Um,
sure he didn't mean it like that,
yeah.
and I'm also
No,
sure
no,
that
I know, I know what he means. I
oh,
know
yeah,
what he means.
but
But
I want to make sure that he knew that we knew.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Um,
amazing, man.
yeah,
Good to see that he's made progress too.
yeah, I talk to myself as well, but that's I think the only reason why I do it more is because I do spend a lot of time inside still because I am on a pension. On a early retirement,
Yeah,
um, which means I don't have to work. But I also live in like a very small town where there's not anything to do, and I don't like most people that live here. So that
yeah,
even though I have a strong desire to be social, I don't want to be necessarily social with the people around here. So
right,
I
yeah,
feel like that isolation just added to one talking to oneself, and
hmm.
but even though that would probably be there to some extent already. But
Have
yeah.
you got like a lot of support around you? You
Um,
say a therapist comes and sees you sometimes as well, right at home?
that's just something for that. It's not like that person is like it's part it's an offer you can accept, and then someone
Right, okay,
comes and basically and checks on you and like talk a bit with you. And these days I don't need it that much, like 90% of the time. But and the people that are coming here have been fighting a lot to be able to come here because I use it right now for when things just collapse. And
yeah,
as I said earlier, asking for those things or getting help, it takes way too long. So I have them there, and I have that contact like every few weeks. So if
yeah,
something happens, then I can like call them, and they are there. It's not like a process thing that I have to wait months for. They're just there,
yeah.
which is
They're there for
nice.
you, yeah,
Um, Even though it's not much more than coming to talk and listen, and if I want them to help me with anything, they will do it. And if I ask for suggestions for anything, any issue, they will try and help me. But
yeah.
yeah.
Um, I know we were talking about before about education to do with autism, but do you think there
Oh,
is in
Dapsilla
schools and
left.
stuff?
Oh yeah, I didn't see
Yes, I
that.
know. I
Oh,
said,
he's
yeah.
12. Oh,
No, he's back at 12.
I say I'm back.
He's talking American time.
Sorry, I have to go. I'll be back in 12.
I'm
Okay.
12 in 12
Yeah,
or I can't read.
I'll be
Um,
back. I assume the M is a typo because that letter is
okay,
literally next to the letter he was supposed to make.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
go on. Sorry.
We're talking about education and around the autism and what the struggles are. Do you think there's enough education like in school system about that sort of thing, or should it be more of a kind of a something we learn about as we go through school and understand better?
The thing is, I'm not in school right now, so I don't know how
No,
much it is.
when you were in school,
But I
there
can.
was no,
Oh no,
yeah,
there's no knowledge. I mean, at least
yeah,
now the teachers have got more tools
yeah,
to like tell if someone has autism, because you have to
hmm,
catch it as fast as possible. The more years, I mean, you can like that's actually if you like have the right people around you or whatever, someone who actually have the knowledge, they can tell from like when they're infants.
yeah,
So yeah, it's so important to like learn it as fast as possible, so like you can like support your child and learn about what it needs.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because one of the things that was hard for me that I didn't get my autistic diagnosis before I was 22, and it's so
right,
late, and it just gets even worse as later it is because of how the thing. How do you explain that? As yeah, when you don't have if you don't have you're diagnosed and you know you're an artist and you are like me,
Yeah.
and I also have friends in my life that went through the same thing,
Hmm.
is that you don't really have a personality. There's the
Right.
illusion
Okay.
of personality. I think I
You
learned
try and
is
create
that
it.
women that have autism, even though it doesn't happen as often as men, but it definitely happen, it's easier for them to fake it, fake
Right. Okay.
being a human,
Interesting.
and that's
Yeah.
basically what I did. I didn't want to like be fake or
Hmm.
hurting people with the things I didn't understand, but I simply didn't have the knowledge or tools to like become my own person. So even
Yeah.
though all children they look at others and then they see, okay, this is what you do, this is how you behave, and then they make their own personality around that. Then with me, I could do nothing but be doing a very poor imitation,
Yeah.
um, like an alien trying to be a human, right? And as soon as people like look through that, they can see nothing but that, and yeah.
Yeah. Fine.
So yeah, it's so important to like learn it as fast as possible, because from each year it's gonna be much harder for that child to like learn those things. That
Yeah. I think some people just think that you grow out of it as you get older, but it's gonna be with you for your life, right?
Yeah, and it's things
Yeah.
if you do that, if you learn about what will make it easier and not
Hmm.
make the autism worse during that day. Because when I say making autism worse, I'm talking about in that moment,
Right.
because
Okay.
things just get fuzzy in your head, you can't concentrate, and yeah, you can't really be social like that. So yeah, if I eat something wrong, then it will affect me almost like as soon as like my body absorbs it, then I will
Yeah.
feel off and everything. So yeah, but if you get the tools, then things can get easier for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you grow out of it. That just means you have to keep doing those things.
Yeah. Is
Or
that
you,
what you like recommend to someone who was struggling?
how do you mean?
So someone else with autism that was struggling with these kind of problems, you'd say you need to kind of get help as early as you possibly can.
Oh
You need to
yes,
go and need to
yeah.
see if you need medication or you don't need medication.
There's no
Or
medication for autism.
no, there
There's
isn't. Sorry, my bad. Yep, it's just
yeah,
for ADHD. All right.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Even though as we touched on earlier, the ADHD and autism
Kind of hand in hand, kind of.
might be first of all, it is hand in hand, like
Yeah.
depression is hand in hand and other things are hand in hand with autism,
Yeah.
but ADHD and autism might actually just be the same thing, just a different place on the spectrum.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, there's medicine for ADHD, but as soon as you also have autism, or depending on if that research is right, that's just two different places on the autism. If you have both those things, then there's a good
Yeah.
chance that medicine won't do anything for you. And it does something for
Right.
me.
Okay.
It does something for
Yeah.
me, but it's not that wow effect. That's like the first thing my psychiatrist said, is that Dennis, you probably won't have that wow effect
Wow.
that
Yeah.
someone with ADHD will have when suddenly
They
that
take
that
some medication.
yeah, when suddenly there's like parts of your brain that suddenly starts working when
Yeah.
they had a hard time before that.
Hmm.
That's the wow effect. That's suddenly, oh my god, this is like what I've been missing all these years. Everything is different now. This is all I ever wanted.
It's a new world. A whole new
Yeah,
world.
all I wanted to do was like concentrate. and I don't be like squirrel. You um,
Have you ever thought about like educating people yourself? I mean, you have educated people, obviously, but being
uh,
more of a professional role to educate people about it.
No, because I don't know nearly enough. The only reason why
Yeah.
I got as far as I did, and I was lucky enough to get the help I needed, because I happened to befriend a very important person to me that
Yeah.
had some knowledge already,
Right.
and
Okay.
he already had friends like me in different places on the spectrum,
Yeah.
and that had their things that dealt with. That might have not even been autism, but tons of things.
Yeah.
Uh, so when I got into her life, and because she had all those others, she started to like educate herself.
Yeah.
And and even like taking courses and everything. And like in this day, like today, she's like, even though she doesn't have like a medical degree, she's like still like a specialist when it comes to those things. And
That's cool.
she has like children she helps after school
Oh,
with their
really?
homework and everything,
Cool.
and it's like to make money because she's still studying and everything. And
Yeah.
like one time a month or something like that, they like meet and say, okay, well, this is where are we right now? What do you say? What do you say? And then as soon as like there's like, okay, what are we gonna do now? They all just go to her, let's look at her. Uh,
Oh, that's great.
yeah, because she just have all the, not only the knowledge but also like what is it called? Erfaring. What is that in English? It's the knowledge, but hmm, it's
All
just the
the
experience.
resources?
It's just the experience,
Okay,
especially with that
experience.
specific person. That they talk about at that moment because she spends more time with them
Yes. Yeah.
than all the others that only like see them like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember she showed me a video at some point of a a very sweet boy that he also had like ADHD, but like and autism as well.
Off the roof. Yeah.
Yeah, and his doctor or psychiatrist has said that he didn't need medicine.
But they
And
only see him once in like a month or something, right?
yeah, off of whatever, it
Yeah.
doesn't see them enough to like actually be able to tell fast enough necessarily that they need that. So she that's put up started filming with a cell phone while they were trying to do like homework because that's what you usually did with them. And he would like get
Yeah.
distracted. He would like maybe write half a letter and then his mind would just go zoop somewhere else. So it's like that's basically how she proved to those people that's okay, he needs this. It's this is a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's great. You play a lot of games, as people know, probably who watch this channel. If they
Uh,
don't, we play a lot of CS:GO, and you like your Mario. Do you think any of that has anything to do with autism? Maybe it's something that you're drawn towards because it keeps you like not entertained, but keeps your mind busy.
well, it's something that passes the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to read a lot more as a kid, even though I have a
Mhm.
hard time with that these days. I have a very hard time
Really,
concentrating reading. It's very bizarre that a thing that used to be so natural to me that I have a hard time doing that these days.
just keeping your attention, you mean?
Yeah, it's back then I could like read a few pages, and maybe if I was tired, I had to reread some lines. But today
Yeah.
it's a hard time because I could honestly do more to take care of
Yeah.
myself. I'm just very lonely here, so one of the reasons why I play is not only to pass time, but also like be social, have like
Social.
people
Yeah.
to talk to because I do have friends, but they're like
Yeah.
scattered around Europe,
Yeah.
so I can't just
Everywhere.
visit them. That's the
Mr.
problem.
Worldwide.
So yeah.
um, so you think there's benefits as well from playing the video games,
Um, the thing
or is
is,
it kind of like a
it's
double-edged
actually
sword?
not good on your brain to like
Yeah.
do that. Yeah, it's the blue light alone is not good,
Hmm.
but just
No.
staring into that and not stimulating your brain in healthier ways is definitely not good.
No.
Though it became easier is
Yes.
playing for like prolonged times when I got my medicine because I don't know if you remember, but back in the day when I was playing with you guys, there were like 2 or 3 games, and then I was like start to mumble and just be
Yep.
slow and yeah. So back then I started like to doing breaks. So that when I discovered that, oh, that was much better. Um,
Yeah.
Compared to when then suddenly I got my medicine and my ADHD medicine, and yeah, it became easier for me, much easier to play for prolonged times because I could concentrate better.
Right. Okay.
The thing is, I used to like play World of Warcraft all day long. I had okay time. I could play that long, I guess, but it's not as like CS:GO when you like
No.
there's so many things that have to go through your head when you do that. You have to like read where they are, what they're gonna do, and all these things happen. That means he probably is
So
over.
really fast, yeah, too. It's like within a few milliseconds, you got to try and think of all it, right?
Yeah, and World of Warcraft, even though the times we played it like against each other in something called RPGs,
Yep.
they basically PvP against each other, like 10 versus 10.
Hmm.
There was a lot of downtime, and I was also a healer, so it was easier for me
Okay.
just to focus on healing people, helping people, because I like that.
Oh my
Uh,
God, it's so deep. It's so deep. What
I know, right?
the
When
hell?
all circle, yeah.
Oh, God
um,
damn it.
so yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why it's harder for me
Yeah.
to play CS for long times because you just have to be on at all times.
Yep. You also said that you made a lot of friends online. Do you find that easier making friends online than in real life?
Um, hmm,
Or is it the opposite, or which way around?
I don't know. I mean,
You don't know.
these
Yep.
days, it's about this. Is it the same? I feel like okay, online,
Yep.
I have a certain type of humor,
Yep.
and I can, if anyone ever see me play on the
Yeah.
stream, then yeah, you can see that I have a certain type of humor energy. I can also like stop doing that, but it's like to let loose, and I
Yeah.
even like use that for like a creative outlet these days. Let's see what were we talking about? Um,
So do you find it easier in life, like with social interactions and stuff like
Oh
that,
yeah,
like trying to read people
I
and
guess when you hear someone react to what the things are saying or
Mhm.
something like that, and you're on a
Yeah.
distance, you can like hear the way he is. Then I
Yes.
guess
Yeah.
it's easier to tell if that a person I wanna hang around with. I have tried to see where this could go. Where in
Yeah.
real life, I guess it could be harder. But I don't have a trouble making friends in real life. It's just that none of them around here because they're not really interested in most people
No.
around here.
No.
They're not really my kind of people. We don't have the same social values and opinions about what is right and wrong in this world. So yeah.
Yep. Because I know we have another friend who I don't think I won't mention his name, but he can have trouble with social interactions and reading people and how their like emotions are. I'm
Yeah.
sure he wouldn't mind if you mention his name, but I'll leave it for now.
Yeah, that's the right
Um,
thing to do.
do you ever struggle with those sort of kind of trying to read people in real life, like what people are thinking, or
Um,
not really?
once I notice it, right? And
Yeah.
I've been going a bit back and forth because I've been on another podcast when I got this exact same question.
Yes.
And I've answered that back then that I felt like I was better than most. And
Okay. Yep.
because of my ADHD and autism, I think a lot about what's going on.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if there's anything that like that, then I started questioning: was there really? Because there's still like things that go over my head, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, I in some situations I am, and it can even it doesn't even depend on a certain situation. It's just depending on how focused I am and how if I catch on. But I guess when I catch on, I know where it comes from. With others, usually don't. But knows where it
Yeah.
comes from. Yeah. But yeah.
What else can I ask you here? Let's have a look. What else we've got? Do you currently have a lot of friends who have autism?
Uh,
Leading on from that question I just asked you,
yeah.
do you find it easier to make friends with people who have autism?
A thing I've noticed with my life is that autistic people and
Mhm.
ADHD people they have like a way of just finding each other. They just get
Yeah.
attracted to each other. It's not even they don't even necessarily know that the other person also have it. Maybe on a subconscious level is where it is, but it just keeps happening. That's the friends I make. And the funny thing is that some of my most important friends that from way back we didn't know back then we had autism or ADHD or both.
Right. Okay.
But
Yep.
there was clearly something that made us be attracted to each other in that way because we are still friends to this day and some of the most important friends that we had. And yeah,
Yep.
that's also something I noticed that we even when I
You
meet new
drew
people,
together.
then this all usually turns out that they have autism or ADHD, and it's just yeah. Sometimes, especially if I meet like a sweet girl,
Yep.
then it's all that's always something, and that's not our fault. But I'm like, it'd be nice just like once, There's not all this baggage, but then again, I have all my baggage. But
Yeah.
it's just sometimes like,
You said at the very start you wanted to go back and talk about school and how school was for you. How was school and getting through school? I know you touched on it briefly.
yeah.
Mm. Did you
Um,
want to touch on that anymore or not?
it has to be more specific also, and like the last podcast where I'm trapped in 45
Okay,
minutes.
yeah. So what did you
I mean, I had something I could focus on there. It's back to like
Yes.
not
Yeah,
being able to
you
like
were
be.
thinking about it.
Yeah, not, we can start with it's not being able to be a person really, as in having
That
your
was
own
it, yeah.
personality and having the confidence that comes from that.
Yeah.
Um, like it was just hard. Like I always felt like I came to a point, even though if I switched schools or boarding school, whatever, it always like came to a point where I felt like everyone hated me,
Right,
and
okay.
because they had figured me out, right? They figured me out because I knew I was fake. I knew it. I didn't mean
Yeah.
to. I didn't have anything. Um, Even though there were, again, when I was one on one, I was much less fake. I guess it was
Hmm.
as stressful when there was all those people around you. Um, so I lost it again. So yeah,
Okay.
it was. What was I saying?
So you had a lot of people around you who were fake and you kind of
Oh yeah. So
you were fake and you had a lot of people around you. Did you like tend
what
to copy off them or was it
Oh,
someone
oh
else you
yeah,
tried to
but
copy?
I didn't
Yeah.
just copy off everybody, even though, well,
Yeah.
to a certain extent. But what happened is, and I actually had a talk with that guy like a year ago, no, half year ago,
Okay.
and I met this guy this is like when I'm like 19, 20, but I
Right,
met a
okay.
guy there that I was like, that's the kind of person I want to be. Uh, yeah, so
Oh,
I took the
um,
positive sides of him and I added to
yeah.
myself, and I actually like managed to like just not copying it, but like
No, yeah.
uh, make it a bit about me. And it was I actually added it to myself, and then later when I met my very important friends,
Hmm.
that's it's also like when I started learning about how to like have your own personality and where it all came from, all the
Yeah.
troubles. Then that's also the things like followed me then to like being the person I ended up being.
Yeah.
Um, but funny is though is that I had a talk with him about that like a half year ago, maybe in a year ago, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um, that he said yes, he did the same thing with his other friend he had. So he
No
copied
way.
because
No way.
yeah, so he because he also have ADHD and autism, so he copied what a friend he had, and then I copied him.
Oh my God, it's a big train. It's a big train.
Yeah, but the charming thing about it, I feel like, is
Mhm.
that we still both wanted like to be nice people. So that's the
Yeah.
qualities we looked for and we copied. We didn't look at a serial killer or this
No, yeah.
ra- racist prick or whatever.
No. I feel like a lot more people should do what you do. Like look at people and take their best qualities.
I mean, like,
Maybe they do, but they just don't know to do it. I don't know.
they do to some extent.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
all we everyone gets affected by the people around. And
Yeah.
again, also when it comes to autism, the things I go through is still actually what everyone goes through. Is just much
Of
more
course. Yeah.
enhanced. So people that doesn't have autism, they still get effects from what they eat. They just either
Yeah.
don't notice it or they don't see the connection.
Yeah.
Because everyone like gets benefits from eating healthy.
Hmm.
It's just not as severe for them, but they definitely would benefit from it.
Another thing leading on from that is, hopefully all viewers know that you are a massive like film fan and you love your films and you're watching all that. Did you copy anything from your films, or did you find yourself with role models
Oh,
from films that you used?
there are. I think one of the reasons for my quirks when it comes to humor and everything is
Yeah.
that I used the only like no, what's it called? As a kid, I watched a lot of movies, and I wasn't as
Yep.
social as I wanted to. So some of that, I thought that also that how people acted, which is probably one of the
Yeah.
things why like I ended up coming off as weird as I did because I didn't even when I was copying something I wasn't even acting like a human. I was acting like entertainment,
Yep.
and I feel like there's still something there. Is that like when it comes to when for example when I play and I'm having a good time and doing my whole stick there. I feel
Your character comes out.
yeah. No, I never acting. It's just an extent of my personality that I just
Of
let
course, yeah.
loose, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm putting on a show, even though it's hard when I'm in that situation.
Hmm.
That I feel like I need to be funny, and that's what I like. It's this line I always have to like concentrate on, even though I cross it sometimes. But with time,
Yep.
I'm sure will be better. That then suddenly it's not as sincere, and it's not what it's all words. It's not when someone is not fake, then you are genuine. It's not as genuine.
Genuine, yep.
It needs to happen natural. That's also when I'm like
Yeah.
the funniest,
Yep.
and people probably don't notice when it's a bit more forced than it should be. But I always notice, and I always feel bad afterwards, and I
Yep.
don't mean to be, but it's hard. Yeah.
Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, but also it also feels like that part of you almost removes that awkward barrier of trying to embarrass yourself because you don't care. You don't care about that.
Oh, I mean, I
I
can't.
could be wrong.
That depends of how I embarrass myself. That's maybe certain ways. Some people will feel like embarrassed when it comes to me, but
Yep.
there are some things I just don't care about anymore. Just
Yep.
because you just many people learn that if you don't care about it, then it doesn't matter. There's nothing to be
Yeah.
embarrassed about. It's only if you're embarrassed, then people will get embarrassed on your behalf, which just think is stupid. But if you basically have to own it,
Yep.
and but
Yep.
it's not easy owning it. You can't just say I'm gonna own this and I'm not gonna care because then you just look like a douchebag. You have to learn how to own it. And it's gonna take time. I mean, it took time for when I suddenly met you guys in that group with CS to
Yep.
like for people like to understand who I was, and a lot of my humor ended up being hurtful in some situations because
They didn't understand you.
I would basically just cross the line, and I didn't wish to cross the line.
Right.
Which with
Right.
time I've learned like to perfect it more,
Hmm.
and
But
because
but also the line isn't all one way. It's not all on you. It's also them to be offended by something that because they don't know you well enough.
oh yeah, that's one part of it, but sometimes you're just
Yeah.
hurtful, and you just have
Yes.
to learn not to do that, going that area. Now
Yep.
I need water.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
I
Get
need
some water.
water. Yeah.
Okay, and now we go to the ad break. Can we have the naked ladies come out, please?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to
Da,
the
da, 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 da,
lobby.
da.
I'm just gonna keep the water here
Taking
now.
a
Just needed to
look.
be
Yeah, I
cool
had to
for.
get a glass.
Where did we come from? Where did we go?
Getting there,
Yeah.
Joe.
So one thing is like either hurtful, but a thing that's whether we've talked about it recently that when I'm doing my thing when we stream and such, I know I figured out at some point that yeah my humor isn't as approachable. There's you need to
Right.
like learn where it comes from. I'm not just some insane person or whatever. It's
I think it's also you were saying to me a while ago that you in real life, for people that don't, I know this, but people in real life, people in the stream who don't know this, is you in real life is completely different to you on the game or on online. I mean, now you're very genuine here
mm,
in this kind of scenario, but I think with a lot of energy, a combination of the ADHD and your autism,
yeah
it kind of makes your personality bigger, like you say. It's kind of that extension that you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
People
think
it's
people need to meet you to know that.
yeah they basically need to learn what's going on here, and also
Yeah.
I think I often says is that if there's someone new there and I can tell like I wasn't hurtful but you just don't understand what's going
Mhm.
on, is that oh yeah
Yeah.
you don't take serious almost take all what I say, don't take it seriously, it's all just for
Yeah.
laughs. It's
Yeah.
uh so yeah it's a bit niche, but once people get it they get it, but it's not as
Yeah.
approachable. I'm not a clown throwing someone a pie in the face. It's different.
I think it can just. Oh, my camera's shaking like crazy. What the hell? Um, I just think that some people don't get that. What the hell is going on with my camera?
It,
I'm
it
sorry,
looks
guys.
it looks fine on mine.
Is it? Okay, it's just me then.
Yeah, it's a
Me being
bit
crazy.
bright though, actually. But
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, let me turn it down.
it's not there's not a light or anything, a source.
Oh,
Oh no! Thank God
oh
you're
no.
wearing pants.
That
It's
would have been awesome. Okay, this is not. I'm driving myself crazy. I'm gonna put this over here. Um, I don't have any big questions left. I got a few tiny ones, I guess.
yeah.
Let's have a look. I feel like that was a good discussion so far, though.
Oh yeah.
Had a lot of interesting points.
Not even sure how long we've been going right now.
It must be an hour. An hour. We're on dead on an hour. Wow, that's impressive.
Wow, that's
Dead on 1 hour.
that's like the lizard brain inside my head. Oh, timestamp.
Is there anything you want to talk about or ask me anything that I can
No,
try and give my perspective on the the side of or on my perspective, I guess, on what autism like. I don't know.
yeah.
You got
Let's
any
just
questions?
let's. I don't have anything necessarily. Just finish everything you had on your list. That's either big or minor, and maybe that would lead
Okay.
to a larger one. Who knows? Because I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
let's
lot
take
of
a
the
look.
conversation I have to cut myself off because I can like keep going, and I don't know. It's can't be too
No, you
convoluted.
can go as long as you like. It's
Yeah,
fine. I don't
yeah.
mind.
I'm trying to do it the way I
Oh,
feel like
okay.
it should be done, and yeah.
It's one that's very relevant to right now. Uh, do you what's sorry? How is being able to stream and game? No, actually, no. How is being able to stream helps or play a factor with your autism?
It doesn't help at all.
Doesn't help.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
doesn't
sure
help.
it was hard for me to be able to like. I mean, for the longest time, I couldn't even like follow chat without
Right. Yeah.
also play, and I'm not completely sure yet that how much it actually still affects me. That's because I used to be like zoned in, and
Yeah.
I don't feel as zoned in anymore, and that can be either because I don't play that much anymore because I had
Yeah.
shoulder issues, I had some injuries, and something on top of that with my shoulders, so I haven't been able to play as much.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it does something, um, which is fine. I don't need to like be
Hmm.
at the very top of my game when I do that, but it
No.
absolutely does not help. I prefer like being zoned in and just
Yeah.
doing my thing because that's when the magic happens. It's I think I've been told a lot of times. I still have questions about the thing you said last time about my crosshair. That you say
Oh yeah,
no
like
one
where you
uses,
put
but
it.
and I'm not sure it's not only the crosshair. It's like the whole thing that goes on in my brain that no one else gets.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but people often like want to correct me on how to do stuff, and there's definitely
Hmm.
stuff in the game I could do better in
Yep.
certain areas. But I also like learned that it's also like a strange just to like be out of the norm. I mean, imagine if I just used the AK and the M4 back in the day when people told me to.
Oh no, you won't be the beast you are today.
I mean,
You won't.
I mean, I would have been. Imagine when everyone realized that the AUG and the SD was like the two best weapons in the world. And imagine how sad and frustrated I would have been. I was like, damn it, I should have kept using them.
You mentioned your shoulders a second ago.
Uh,
What can you explain to people what happened there? Or do you want
um,
to?
I'm not 100% sure.
Are you aware of it when you're doing it?
How do you mean?
Like you were up
Uh,
against your desk and you kind
oh,
of.
oh, it's a pain back there,
Yep. Yep. And
and
you also get a lot of pain when you're gaming because you're really close and pushed your your mouse into
no,
the mouse mat, right?
yeah, but that's basically something I, I I didn't always use to sit like that. I used to like have my arms on my wrists, right, and then
Right.
just
Okay.
move
Yeah.
my hand, even though going to the right wasn't always as optimal. Didn't feel, but whatever. But I did change my posture like severely but that's again because of my shoulders.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that it base I think it's definitely connected in one way or another to my ADHD medicine, even though like
Right.
yeah, I went to the doctor. Basically, what he found out is that I have flexible limbs, which is why I could do this, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and if you don't have enough muscle mass, apparently, and
Mhm.
then things will start hurting.
Yep. Yep.
Um, And so I also have a back problem, which makes my leg hurt because it just goes all the way from my back down my leg, and then like
Ooh,
the ADHD medicine makes like your muscles and everything more stiff. So what happened at one point
right.
is that I had like a long gaming session, and then I decided to stretch my arm, and it's also
Oh no.
like all the way up.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that's when I like after that I could barely like lift a can soda to my face, just barely. And that's when it started, even though it has actually been going on for a while. Because months before that, I was like, "There's something wrong. Something is off." And
Yeah.
people think I was just being paranoid, but I just know I'm onto something because again, I had e- as I referred to earlier, as a kid, I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know where it came from with my autism and everything. And there was the same thing
Yeah.
there. I just thought something is off. There's something
Yeah.
wrong here. My hands are not doing the thing that it did like a week ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I know it, people laughed because it's not, the way I phrased it sounds so funny. Even though I'm like just frustrated and genuine about the way I said I tried to make a joke, but it just happens. Um,
Oh,
so I'm pretty sure it's the combination of my flexible limbs and the fact that the ADHD medicine can make your muscles more stiff. Is that why it was so
right.
severe
Okay.
for me?
Yeah.
And they gave me um, some exercises to do and everything to build more muscle up here very slowly, but none of them helped. It actually
Yeah.
just
Made it
maybe
worse.
pain wise, yeah, it didn't. It wasn't until like I started doing like push-ups like a week or 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay, this uh, uh this was better. And I'm sure if I went
Shredded
to
Beast. Shredded Beast
yeah,
coming soon.
nice. I know I did a lot of push-ups at one point. I did not get shredded because I only do that one thing. It's very artistic for me. I only do one
Oh
thing
yeah.
because that works for me. I don't do all the other shit. So I
No
like
more.
I like that that guy with a very one strong hand and everything else just looks normal.
Don't worry, women. He's fine. Don't worry. He's got more than
See,
one
see, that, I'm
talent.
sure they didn't think anything till you just said that. Because now they're
Nah.
like,
He's only good at that one thing.
yeah, yes, yes, and it's always premature.
Oh no.
um,
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
no, no, it's just I'm just kidding. I felt the need to
So
say.
for your also another thing, your movies, you demonstrated on the last podcast your insane memory, um,
It's my
the
autism
ability
power.
to recollect, yeah, to recollect dates and
Only those,
titles and actors and everything about movies.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
is how do you think
That's
how do you think
based.
that's linked to autism?
I mean, that's just a thing some authors can, and that basically just shows that if there's a it's first of all the way you use it is it's all based on feelings. So
Yeah,
when I try to remember back to something, I can, for example, those movie years, then I'm following my feelings, and I can
right.
just for whatever reason, I just know how I felt around that time, and that's that guides me. And someone who can't relate to that have a very hard time understanding that right now, I'm sure. And it's not even
Mhm.
it's very broad with me, but I think it should show, it should indicate that there are certain things you can exercise and tricks you can
Yeah,
learn in actually to for me to like remember basically everything. And the
yeah.
idea is that you put everything into boxes in your
Right.
head,
Okay.
into your feelings boxes, your different feelings boxes, and then that way you can like access those things very fast and precise.
Kind of like a mind palace or like a
Yeah,
when you compartmentalize stuff, I guess.
basically, yeah. The all those.
Did you do that for a lot more than just movies, or was that kind of
What was that? Sorry.
what you stuck to? Did you do this for more than just movies, or was it kind of in the
Um,
every single
Also,
day you did it?
just basically memories.
Right. Okay.
I asked a friend not too long ago. Well, I asked a friend at some point where it's like she was like, I asked her, when did that cat you picked up from the street? What is its birthday? Because the birthday was basically when she found it. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I said, I don't remember. You probably know that better than me. I was like, yeah, okay. It was not 2013. That's what I visited you the first time. It was not a year later because isn't that? No, it must have been 2014. 14, and it was June because that's when there's like the European Championships,
Oh
and
my
that,
god.
and we just came home from France, from Paris. So yeah, that's all that. So
Exact date.
so if you can find that exact match, then you can also find the date in that
Yeah.
June.
Oh my god.
And it was apparently a
Crazy.
match that France were winning a lot because all the police in Paris had nothing to do because there's only
Oh
rioting when
wow.
they lose. So it's from that you can very precise find out what it is. So
That's brilliant.
yeah,
I don't think I have any more really questions
yeah, that's fine.
to ask you, but I feel like that was a good session.
Yeah,
We went through a lot there, guys. Is anyone in chat who wants to ask me a question? Have we got anyone?
I don't think
Have we got
so. There
anyone?
might be
I think
one.
Dabzilla's left a while ago.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
left there come back, which is fine. I'm sure. I mean, he's 12.
Yep.
Either he figured, started doing something else, maybe bloodlust. But if apparently, if they're not saying anything, if they want to say something, they will. But we should not
Yep.
try to
Of
drag
course.
anything out of them. It's
No, of course.
if
No,
you
no,
just
no.
want to
That's
sit
fine.
down and listen for whatever reason, which I often do
Yeah.
with these kind of things as well. There's reason B. But again, if anyone have anything to add or questions or what, be part of the conversation. All you have to do is write in the chats. But yeah, I don't
There you
feel
go.
like I have anything also add. I'm not much better at when it comes to autism at the very least, like to react when I get the question.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
there's
Um.
probably a tons of more things. Well, actually, I do have a question now that I think of it.
Oh.
Did you learn anything today? Because you did take those courses.
Yes.
Um, ah, did you learn anything today? Or is there
I
things about the course that makes more sense now also?
I learned a lot today.
Mm.
I learned a lot today. I learned that it's not really a mental health thing well, it's not a mental health thing. It's more of a developmental kind of thing where you go through stages of your life and you have these experiences and you're trying to understand what's going on, but you can't, and you've got to get help with it. And I understand better now what kind of help you might need, or
Yeah,
what else can I
it's
say?
basically not a mental disorder because that could get cured,
No. Yep.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I
as
mean, I learned a lot. I'm not sure if I can recount all of it. Although I'm going to go back on stream and I'm going to go through all these questions and
see.
mark
This
it
is like
down.
the end,
So,
the end of like the children's show. What did we learn today? Aw, don't hit other
oh,
people,
it's so
and
cute.
that mean guy. He's actually maybe
Be
not
nice,
that mean.
guys.
Yeah, he just looks
Being
mean,
nice
but
is
it's
cool,
not his
guys.
fault. It's actually very nice. So yeah, what else?
Yeah. What else did I learn? I learned some myths, some facts, some of the ones like that you can't really grow out of autism at all. It's gonna be with you for your life.
Oh yes.
Um, what else did I learn?
Well, not necessarily
That
all what you learn, but also just
I mean, I've got a lot better understanding now of the
is
beast
is
and other people.
the beast.
The beast.
Rawr. Is there anything we didn't touch on okay, what the the courses you took? What kind of courses were they specifically?
So the idea behind that course I was taking is something that's probably quite not an offensive thing, maybe offensive to people with autism. But one of the questions they were asking in it is what people were asking is autism real or something like that. I think it was
Yeah,
not is autism real, but along those lines of
I know
that kind of
where they're coming from because there's a lot of people. Even my like one of my brothers is like, oh, it's all fake and it's all in your head and placebo and blah 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 blah.
yeah,
But yes,
yeah,
it's real. It's
yes.
there there are
So
people out there in the world that brains might actually function just a bit different than your own. Get over it, okay?
yeah, yeah. It was both sides of the story on that, and I think that's given me some good insight into it. Although I already have my opinion. I already have my opinion set anyway.
But that's people asking those questions, or was the
So
host or
the
whatever?
course,
Yeah.
so like the host would give you that question, and then it would go through a series of different sides of the story, or from different people's perspectives as well. So people with autism, people without autism,
Yeah.
people who study it, and you have to complete some like questionnaires. You have to write a little summary about your experiences with autism, people that you know, how different the people on the spectrum are. Also about is a, like using the word spectrum kind of offensive or not. There's a lot of different things, but I think it's mainly geared towards caring for someone with autism.
Yeah.
I'd say that. Yeah, but I think that's all I can remember now from the
Uh,
course.
I feel like it's a good way for them to like start like that because some of them people are tuning in.
Yep.
They might be one of the questions they have. That is it actually real or is it fake? And I
Yep.
I can respect that whoever made those courses that was something they
Yep.
wanted like to put out there straight away,
Yep.
just to like yeah
I,
lecture and
I
educate
think
those people.
I think it's good that they can ask those questions. I know why it would be offensive to someone with autism.
Yeah, but
Um,
if they actually if it's in an environment where they then get educated, I'm fine with it. So
yes,
yeah,
yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
yeah,
That's the whole thing. If they can't ask the questions and someone gets offended, then how are they going to get educated really about the whole situation?
yeah, and if they just think they know everything already, then yeah, how are they ever gonna get smarter?
Exactly.
Right.
Um, I think that's all I can muster up, Dennis.
Yeah,
And that might be it.
that's fine. Yeah,
That was good though. That
yeah.
was really good.
It has to be said that we had some technical issues before this. It took
Yes,
like 2 hours,
really.
and it drained us so much.
Yes.
So usually a talk like this, I mean, I think a day with that would have happened, we could have like
Two and a
just
half, maybe 2.5 hours.
yeah, we could have
Just
started
like
talking
yeah,
about movies or whatever. But I'm like
yeah,
you, we got through this, and it went
yeah.
just fine.
Yes, I
Um,
liked it.
but we are both drained because our brains can
Yeah.
only take so much. And
But
um,
everyone, you just gotta remember that being nice is cool. That's
being
all
nice
you
is
gotta remember.
cool. Yeah.
That's our
It,
motto.
and
That's Beast's motto.
yeah, and that's not ironic or a joke or anything. Just be
No.
nice and it's not cool to be a dick, guys. Stop being a dick and
Yeah.
think you're like
Stop it.
and think you're like oh, so hardcore. No, actually being nice to other people is way
Mhm.
harder than being a dick because you have to put effort into it and really work
Yeah.
it. Everyone can be a dick, but actually
Yeah.
be sympathetic about others means you also have to care about others. And in order to care about others and be sympathetic about others and really do it right, then you also have to know what those people are going through, or yeah, you basically have to care.
You
So,
smashed it.
so yeah, being nice is cool, guys, and that's the
You
name of the
smashed out the water.
podcast. And
Awesome.
we've got to try and make the. I think the plan is to make this into like a weekly thing, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yep.
there might be a trouble at like the first few weeks there because Rory Omen
I
is
am working quite a lot.
yeah, and he needs to concentrate on that for now.
Yep. Once I get settled in, I get some hours which are bit more decent.
Yeah, then
Then
basically we can pick days where we want to do
yes.
this.
Yep.
Hopefully more than one a week, but whatever like thing will allow us.
And
Um,
if you want to give us any like topics or anything you want to talk about, just kind of messages on our social medias or on YouTube, you can put in the comments, or here you can just come and chat with us
yeah,
and get involved.
do we even have
Get
links
involved.
to like social things?
I I hope so.
No,
If we don't,
I
we can
don't
sort
think
it out.
so.
Okay, so
But
we'll sort some out some links for you guys, and they'll all be down below in the description.
yeah, it will
Um,
be soonish. This
yes,
will also be uploaded to YouTube, where definitely that you can write comments there. But
yep,
we're
and the
still,
VOD will be here as well.
but as I said at the beginning, all this is like still in its infancy, and there's still things you like will be changed a bit, or
Yep,
like
like
yeah.
my face not being this bright.
Oh my God! You mean you're not the whitest person ever? Really?
Damn it!
You're not actually made of glass or like a
Oh
sponge of
no, look at it.
sunshine?
This is my sunshine.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think we should call it there. Let's call it there.
Yeah.
That was
Bye,
good though.
guys.
Bye guys. Bye.
Bye.